Hello, and welcome to a new show. I'm doing a little personal update. So much has happened and so much is about to happen because the countdown to my Asia trip is counting down. It's like a week and a half away, which is crazy because this is like the longest time I've planned a trip, if that makes sense. Like I haven't planned a trip so far in advance as this one. I think we started planning maybe in like February, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. It's just like the anticipation. And I definitely could have used vacations like in between now and my last trip, but I knew this was coming, so it's sort of a delayed gratification sort of thing. So anyway, the remaining things left to do, I think Nadia and I are just buying a couple tickets to like the airport. I'm gonna buy a ticket on the bullet train from Kyoto to Japan to Tokyo. These things just like weren't available sooner just because of schedules, aren't released yet or whatever. I'm going to print all of my tickets and everything and just have like a little travel folder ready to go. I think we're in good shape. The last thing I need to do is get an international driver's license or permit probably, because I signed up for a Mario go-kart tour in Tokyo. I'm like, why not? And it's at night, and so like on the itinerary is to like go over the Rainbow Bridge, and I was like, yeah, that sounds great. But you need like a permit to drive, and if I can't get it in time, I can just cancel that tour, but I'll keep you posted on that. Then I decided to get a tattoo in Vietnam. I mean, I hope so. I hope I don't chicken out. I don't think I'll say what it's going to be yet. Just, I don't know. I feel a little superstitious. Also, I feel really vulnerable talking about it to people because when you say what it is, it's like, I feel like you're leaving kind of the judgment up to them, whether they think that's meaningful enough to like have on your body for the rest of your life. And so I feel like I don't need anybody's responses, probably like when people don't say what they're gonna name their baby, because it's like, you don't need that input. Not that it's the same thing, but anyway. Okay, so other things I wanted to quickly update you guys on is, I don't know why, maybe the change of season, I've just felt like this urgency to like start a bunch of like clubs and meetings, or like community stuff. It's honestly stuff I've wanted to start for a while, but I think it's like with fall coming and then winter quickly coming after that, I just really feel like I want to have like routines in place and just scheduled time where I know I'll be seeing groups of people. So my two ideas are, my friend Annie and I have started a journal club inspired by Suleika's book, the Book of Alchemy. I think I mentioned at my last life update podcast. Still highly recommend the book. And Suleika wrote on her Substack that she was like, wouldn't it be cool to have like a journal club? And I'm like, yes, I'm on it. So we put up some flyers around like bookstores and community spaces in the area. So if you're in the St. Paul area, feel free to reach out. I think we would like to keep it for the ladies, but yeah, we'll see where it goes. And then my other club idea also, I do want to keep specifically for women because it is such a male dominated space, which is to start like a film photography club. I guess it doesn't have to be specifically film, but I would love to have like a film photo club. So again, feel free to reach out. You can join all the clubs. But yeah, I think my idea is just to have like maybe a monthly or a bi-weekly meeting, which I'm happy to host, where we just like share photos we've taken like over the year or whenever. But I feel like it would be such a cool way to share our photography in person and not on Instagram, just to have like that real-time feedback from people, because photography itself is such a like solitary thing, but we think so much about our work, and it would be really cool to just see what that looks like. So And then related to photography, I was on a photo shoot this week at my company. I was sort of like managing for the past few days. We had a couple of photographers come in to do headshots and environmental photos of our office and stuff for the website that we're having redesigned. And it was like so fun. It was just really nice to do something different. And I had been on shoots in New York, for a couple of years. I was freelancing, and it just felt really nice and fun to, be in like kind of like a familiar element. So anyway, the photographers on the shoot are like super into film, and I was like, oh, I could really use your help like deciding on a medium format camera, because I've been wanting one forever, the ones that like you look down and like the Vivian Meyer type of thing. And there's like Mamiya, there's Rolleiflex, there's like so many brands, and they can be very expensive. So anyway, I told them my budget and what I wanted, and they're like, here, how about this? I'm like, great. And so like I bought it on the spot. And they told me about this website and company run by women called Cute Camera. I think Cute Camera Co., based out of Austin. And it's like, run by women, and they sell refurbished and new, I think, cameras and photo equipment and stuff. And I was like, this is perfect. So it'll be like my little birthday present for me. And I even added the gift wrap option, because I'm like, yeah, why not? No one knows me like me. So I don't know. You should do that for yourself. So actually, I just got the film in the mail today, so I am ready for this. I don't think I'll bring it to Asia with me, just because I want to kind of practice with it and work out the kinks, but I'll bring my other 35mm Canon AE1. That's like the classic for like the street photography and everything. So, and I also stocked up on rolls of film for that. So in other pop culture-ish news, I feel like this is very niche. It's not like pop culture, but Samin Nosrat just came out with a new cookbook called Good Things, and I found it in a thrift store, and it literally just got released like a few days ago, and I found it last weekend. So first of all, I was like, how is this in a thrift store already? So someone must have gotten like an early release copy or something. I'm just like really excited to read that. And then, okay, a podcast I used to listen to kind of loosely on and off is called the Celebrity Memoir Bookclub. And they recently started a new podcast called Good Noticings about pop culture. And I'm like really excited for that, because sometimes I wasn't always interested in like the book they were reading about the celebrity, but I enjoyed their commentary, and I think both of them are comedians, so it's like they're pretty funny, and they both live in Brooklyn, so I feel like they're just like my Brooklyn friends that I'm like checking in with and like seeing what's kind of like relevant and trending. So, and then another podcast that's not new but new to me called Vibe Check. And that's been really good to hear about, like just thoughts on like the news. And honestly, I'm using them to like hear about the news, because I would rather hear it through someone who's gonna like tell it to me and then kind of give me their thoughts on it, and by people that I trust. I think they're all journalists, possibly journalists, writers, all in that kind of space. So yeah, I think those are my updates today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation that we recorded. I'm definitely trying to kind of up my scheduling game, and I think I will in the fall and heading into the winter. Summer is just like so crazy, and also I moved apartments, and that kind of takes a lot of space and time to figure out. So yeah, but overall I think it was like a good summer. Yeah, it's like always so unsatisfying, I think, at the end of summer, because it's like it's just never enough. It's never enough time, but yeah, it's all good. And I'll talk to you soon, probably when I get back from my trip. Welcome to another episode of Away and Abroad. This week, I'm talking to someone who I just met very briefly just a few weeks ago at a Spanish meetup. So introducing Mike Montazeri. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really excited to help you with the show.
I feel like any, fellow traveler, there's always like some overlap of interest and shared experience. So I'm excited to chat. I guess we'll start with where are you from and where do you live currently?
Yeah, so I'm Iranian Canadian and I live in Minneapolis right now. And yeah, so I used to live in Canada for a long time and now I kind of moved to US about 2 years ago. And
And
yeah, I
what do
live
you
in
think so
Minneapolis
far?
right now. Um, Really nice people. Well, you know, in Canada or in my uh, other home country in Iran, people might have some different opinions about American people, but when you actually come to US, you see that, people are really nice and very welcoming, and I could make many friends here. So far, great experience.
Awesome. And what brought you to Minneapolis?
I came here for work, but I had w- I had the option to work from basically any city. I can work remotely, and I decided to Minneapolis. I like to travel, and I like to kind of experience different cultures, different places, and I decided to experiment living in Minneapolis for a while. And so far, it's one of my top choices, but I haven't seen winter yet, so
Yep, get
so far it was
ready.
summer experience. It was great.
hmm All right, we'll let you, yeah, experience, yeah, what the winter has to offer. But if you do like a winter sport, that's like the common advice.
Mhm.
So, did
Yes.
did it get pretty cold in Canada?
Yeah, I live in BC in Vancouver. It didn't get that cold, so it was the same Pacific Northwest weather. I'm not an expert in dealing with winter, but I like winter sports, so maybe I'll enjoy it.
Yes, maybe the love will grow. So, how many places have you lived total?
So I'm from Iran originally, and I lived in many cities throughout the country in Iran. I was born in southern part of Iran in Khuzestan city called Ahvaz. And then we moved throughout the country because of my parents' work. I lived in the capital, in eastern part of Iran, in northern part of Iran, and that's about my home country. And then I moved to Canada to study. I lived my whole life in Canada. I lived in BC, mostly in Vancouver. After a while, I moved to the US. I lived in Seattle and Bellingham and um, kind of a short time in Portland and Minneapolis now.
So when you've lived in so many places, does it kind of make you want to just see as many places as you can, or are you kind of looking for like some place to feel like home?
That's a good point. When you get used to moving to different places, you feel like you want to kind of do that again. So when you stay in the same place, okay, well, I've seen everything here. Maybe I should go and try a different place and get a different experience. And you kind of, I guess, you get more brave in moving and it feels more, I guess, natural and more convenient. I kind of feel Canada is my home, but I don't see any specific place as my kind of home. That's why I feel kind of comfortable moving to many different places. And I learned how to make friends, and that's really helpful when you want to kind of try living in different places because that's the main thing. Like you want to have friends and connections, and that human connection is the most important thing in any place.
Mhm. Yeah, how do you make friends?
I try to join many social activities. For example, we met in the Spanish Conversation Club and can use Meetup to kind of see events and kind of go to all these social events. I try to basically do my hobbies. Let's say, I don't know, pickleball, for example. You can
hmm
do pickleball everywhere. And, when you go to these pickleball clubs and places. You can meet many people with shared interests. Or let's say I do salsa dancing. I'm learning salsa, and I see many basically chill people who have a time to spare, and they are joining these classes, and they are
hmm
really open to make new friends.
hmm
And yeah, so just kind of doing my hobbies in every
Yeah.
city, and that's how I make friends.
Yeah, I love that. How's salsa going?
It's going really well actually. The good thing about salsa and most Latino sort of dancing is that you can find classes and communities everywhere well, at least in US and Canada, I could find communities in all the cities. And uh, I also travel a lot for work. So when I
Mhm.
get bored, I can always kind of find a kind of a salsa dance event or like a class or something to join. So yeah, it's going very well. I started, I think about 6 months ago, and yeah, so far I love it. It's really good for even for mental health. It's kind of I kind of have a stressful job, so going to these kind of events help me with my mental health as well.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has traveling for work been like, what are the pros and the cons of it? I feel like it's kind of a trap of like, it sounds fun, but I know sometimes you may be just stuck in like a conference room kind of thing. So are you able to like find the fun in traveling for work?
hmm When you travel for work, you mostly travel to the same place many times,
Mhm.
and it is usually fun for the first time because it's exciting. Oh, you are going to a new city, you want to explore and kind of see the attractions. But after a while, okay, well, you already seen all the attractions. What now?
Yeah.
After a while, you don't like to actually travel because you have your friends and family in your basically home, and you want to spend more time with them.
Hmm.
But what I kind of learned was that, I can actually make friends in these other cities as well, where I
That's
travel for
true.
work. So
Hmm.
that's what I try to do. For example, I installed an app called Bumble BFF for making
Hmm.
friends.
Hmm.
Bumble is a dating app, but it has a BFF version for making friends.
Hmm.
And on this app, you can create kind of groups and sort of plans to set up some events and kind of meet people. I'm the admin for a group in Richfield, Washington, near Portland. I'm
Okay.
not there right now, but I'm planning events in that city.
Oh, wow. That's
So yeah,
awesome.
that's how now I have that group of friends. If I travel there for work a lot, so now the next time that I travel there, I can set up kind of an activity with them.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I try to do, and
Hmm.
it's fun. You have friends all over the country, and
Yeah, that's super
internet made
cool.
it easy to stay connected. And whenever I visit these cities, I can kind of go and see them.
Yeah, that's such an accomplishment, honestly. It's like you have a global community and that's really awesome. I feel like that's well
Thank you.
done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Do you have sort of like a container for travel? For example, people like to go to national parks or travel for dancing or travel for, yeah, just different types of tours or something. Would you say there's like one thing that kind of motivates you to pick a certain spot?
Very good question. I like to visit, the major, I guess, tourist destination that might not be exciting to some people, but I still like to kind of see the major sort of tourist destinations. Like I don't know, Paris, Rome, like these major sort of attractions. But
Hmm.
other than that, I like to get to know the culture. So, for example, I've never been to East Asia. I've met many people from East Asia in, Canada and United States, but I think the actual experience is when you travel there and you meet local people. So yeah, that's what I'm really interested in. When I moved from Seattle to Minneapolis, I drove all the way from there to here.
Wow.
And when you talk about travel, most people think about, traveling internationally, but even within the country, there is a lot of things to experience, like just going through Wyoming and seeing, rural areas, going to the small towns and meeting, cowboys in a bar. That was kind of exciting for me. It was really a different culture,
Hmm.
and I really like to experience that. Yeah.
Hmm. Are you someone that you feel like you can meet like friends along the way and really stay connected with them?
Well, unfortunately, if you meet someone just one time, you can't really become friend. But I like that experience to kind
Yeah.
of see different type of people, different, culture, and really that helps you to grow your world, kind of grow your perspective of life when you see people with different perspectives, with different kind of thinking.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I went to Nashville, Tennessee. I felt like I made the most friends on that trip. And yeah, not people that I stay connected with at all, but it was just so awesome to feel like, oh, I had a friend to have this brunch together with in this moment, and it just is very like so fleeting, but it's kind of like that's kind of what you chase sometimes, it's just like, who am I going to meet in this place and share this
Exactly. So
moment
that
together.
that's really exciting. I don't
Yeah.
get to share some
Mhm.
experience with them.
Yeah. I'm curious about your road trip from Seattle to here. Was there any like maybe high and a low point, that one part that you didn't really like that much and then one part that maybe surprised you? Or I know you mentioned like the Cowboys. Was it kind of like, wow, they really exist?
To be honest, very low expectation for this road trip because I knew that there are not many major cities along the way. But I thought, okay, well, I will see the nature, I will see the Yellowstone National Park. Let's say Wyoming, it was a mysterious place for me, and I wanted to really see it and experience. And I think it was exactly as I thought. Well, what surprised me was the number of bikers
Oh,
on the road.
okay.
And kind of when I got to kind of Midwest area, when I kind of passed Rockies, I saw many bikers. And I think there were like, I don't know, 10 motorcycles and one car. Kind of, it was like
Mm,
sortly kind of high number of bikers on the road. And
mhm.
then I realized that it was kind of an event in Sturgis. I didn't know about
Okay.
it, but
Okay.
when I got here, everybody knew about it. So it was the Sturgis sort of bikers event.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that was my kind of that was a great experience. Like again, the bikers sort of culture that was exciting to me. It might be
Mm-hmm.
a bit controversial. Some people may not like the culture, but to me, it was exciting to meet, those bikers along the way, especially for somebody who's originally from Middle East
Mm-hmm.
and who moved from Canada, meeting these people with different perspective of life was sort of interesting for me. So yeah, it's still, although I thought it will be kind of an empty, I guess, road trip with not many
Mm-hmm.
events, like I still could saw these kind of different things going on. I could meet
Mm-hmm.
many people. I could kind of talk to them about their experience. I realize that if you fly somewhere compared to taking a road trip to that same place, you'll have a totally different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, until you drive to somewhere, you can't really understand the kind of atmosphere and, the geography, the climate, and all
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I recommend everybody to do road trips instead of flying to somewhere if they can.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Then you get kind of like the whole picture of the place.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. How the scenery changes when you get to certain place. I I think most of the people who watch your podcast are probably from US. You should really appreciate your country. There are a lot of places to see, and it it might not necessarily be cheaper than doing a international travel, but it might feel safer for people, and they kind of know the language, and they might feel more comfortable traveling in the US. If you haven't traveled, all the places in the US, do that. It's really exciting. There are too many places to see. So yeah, next, I like to see South. I never been to, you know, Texas and any other southern kind of states.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like to do that. That's kind of on my
Mm-hmm.
list.
Yeah, I try to go to a southern state every winter because it's sometimes like it still does get cold down there. Like Nashville got kind of chilly, but generally it's warmer than Minnesota, especially Florida, obviously. Yeah, I'd really like to go to New Orleans this winter. That's kind of like on my list. Where are some
And
places that you would go from Iran, like to surrounding areas? Like what would be a vacation for you if you lived there?
yeah, so a country like Iran, it's a big country. Actually, Iran is kind of similar to the US in terms of variety of climate and
Okay.
variety of cultures that you can see. Well, it kind
Hmm.
of, I think variety of cultures might be a bit more in Iran. But, just traveling within the country is really exciting. let's say person who lives in the capital in Tehran, they can drive for 2 hours and go to the northern part of Iran, which has a totally different climate, very sort of different culture, and kind of even the language is somehow different. Like people have a will have totally different kind of accent, and or they can go to the beach in the north, and then in south they can go to kind of a more kind of a desert sort of climate, which is still, I think it's kind of fun. Again, depends on the personality, but deserts themselves, they have their own kind of vibe, and it's a different type of vacation just
Hmm.
to be able to experience that. And many historical places, like a country like Iran, it has more than 5 years of history, so you can go to all these historical sites to see there and all the monuments and all the structures and read about the history. So yeah, that's what most people do. But some people also travel um, internationally. Mostly they go to countries like the Emirates, to Dubai,
Hmm.
to Armenia, to Turkey. And by the way,
Hmm.
Armenia, I think US just bought a portion of Armenia. So if you
Oh,
want to travel domestically, you can go to Armenia.
okay. I don't know if
Um,
that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably for
and
travel, it's good, but globally, who knows?
yeah, and what else? Like Azerbaijan.
Hmm.
Yeah, so these countries, I think these are some of the destinations for people in Iran.
Hmm. Hmm.
If I hope that was the answer to your question.
Yeah, totally. I realize I need to like brush up on my geography as well. Um, so,
Yeah,
but
well, don't worry about it. There are too many countries in the world. You
I
are not supposed to know
know.
all of them.
Right, right. Thank you. So, from where you're from, is it pretty common that people are like grow up and stay there, or do a lot of people leave and live somewhere else and come back? Or what's kind of the attitude towards people who want to solo travel or live abroad?
Mm. And I think
Yeah,
most people they tend to stay the same place, and I think that's the normal sort of behavior, kind of humans,
right.
to kind of stay in the same place, and um, they feel probably more safe if they do that. Different countries, depending on their situation. Let's say, well, I'm happy that our country is not sort of war torn country, but let's say a country like Syria, people had to move because of the war. So of course, like from those countries, you'll see more people moving to different countries.
Yeah,
Um,
understandably.
yeah, but also
Uh-huh.
I think countries that are wealthier, I see more people kind of traveling and kind of moving around. And I think US in general is like that. It's still, I think, majority of people like to stay within the same area, but um, my sort of like based on the conversation and kind of I guess discussion that I have with people, I kind of see more people with international travel experience in the States. And I think
Hmm.
it is mostly because of financial situation. They can afford to uh, travel to these all the other countries.
Totally. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And one thing I do wish the US had more of is more train travel, because I think people would just feel a lot more connected to other places, and it would maybe be like a middle of the road type of transit between an airline ticket and a car if people
Mhm.
can't like spend the time and resource in a car, but a train I just feel like is a happy medium. You still get to see like the geography like you mentioned and like kind of piece together a place. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's why I
yeah.
really liked the East Coast as well. Everything was very connected there.
Yeah, no, very good point. I think travel with train is unique experience. You kind of, as you said, yeah, you get a kind of in between experience. I think everybody is aware of the train system in Europe,
Yep,
and it is really interesting to like instead of traveling with a plane, traveling with a sorry, instead of traveling with a plane, it's better to travel with a train because you kind of experience that change in the culture. I
totally.
remember I was traveling from London to Glasgow, Scotland, and every station I took this kind of a slower train, and in every station some people left the train, some people kind of basically boarded the train, and you could see the change in the accent and kind of
Mm-hmm.
in the culture as well. So that was a unique experience that
Yeah.
you only get in a train. Even not even if you're driving your own car, you might not get that experience because you're kind of directly going to the destination. You might stop in one city or so, but you don't get that full experience of, getting all that different cultures sort of in
Yeah.
your, uh, I guess, bubble zone.
Yeah. I love that
But
overlap.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was a very interesting sort of experience. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
trains are great,
Yeah.
but I think US, the problem with the US is that you just don't have that much density of population to,
True.
um, make the trains a logical kind of economical solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, good point. Hmm. So how many states in the US have you been to?
So far, I think California, Oregon, Washington, almost Alaska.
Oh,
I was on the border in Canada. Um,
so close.
and yeah, so kind of I experienced the climate and everything, but I was
Yeah.
not actually in the state. States along the way, I think Idaho and Wyoming and South Dakota
Oh,
and
yeah.
Minnesota, Wisconsin, what else? New York. I think that's it.
What did you think of New York?
New York City is a different country.
Yeah.
It is a different country. Like I think the whole North America, maybe the whole America, North and South America are kind of different, and New York City is kind of totally different. It's kind of a different continent.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, that was mind blowing.
Yeah. How long did you stay there for?
Uh, for about a week.
Okay.
And- But I really like to experience living in New York City. I think that will
hmm
be a unique experience.
hmm Yes,
Yeah, I
I
hope
highly
I get a
recommend.
chance to actually live there at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I lived there for almost 10 years. So
Oh,
yeah,
great. Yeah.
loved it.
How was, maybe I'll ask you a question now. How was your
Yeah.
experience living in New
Yeah.
York City?
It was awesome. Yeah, I think it's something, yeah, if anyone ever like is interested in it even a little bit, they should totally do it for
So
as
why
long as you
did
can.
you why did you move out of the city to Minneapolis?
Yeah, good question. So my family is from here and I grew up here. So, but it's interesting because I do appreciate Minneapolis and I live in St. Paul now, which feels like a new city to me. And that's been really nice to experience something new. Because, like you're saying, it's like, yeah, you can kind of like go to all these places and feel like, okay, I've seen it. And now it's like, what's next? So, but I wanted to kind of take a break from New York and I felt like I wanted to be enjoying it more than I was. But I think I kind of conquered it in a way. And I went from like a really kind of like a lots of highs and lows, I would say, but I feel like I left on a really high point of like I'm financially stable. I like landed at a good job and I felt like I accomplished like so much. And I was kind of like, I guess this might be it for me for a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll never say never. But also I have like kind of an itch to like maybe try out another country and see what living there would be like too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, great planning. I think this was a good discussion for any sort of, I guess, young people who
Yeah,
want to kind of plan their life. I think it's good to experience that New York City life for a while. And then, when you get to that, high point that you realize, okay, well, I experienced everything here, then you can kind of move to another city based on, I guess, job opportunities or something like that.
exactly. Yeah, it's a fantastic place to live when you're young and like or if you just feel young at heart. So there's a lot of people, you can feel very ageless and timeless there. So but definitely it helps if you have a lot of energy. So, would you want to do like the same job you have in New York and just kind of like live there for a bit?
Hmm. Yeah, well, I'm a
Mhm.
civil engineer, and my main problem is that I have this big truck that I have to park, and that I need the truck for my work because I
Oh,
go to,
really?
job sites and stuff. My main problem is that a city like New York City,
Hmm.
even if you have a small car, you can't find a parking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll have a terrible experience finding parking. So yeah, that's my main problem. Maybe I should change my career to be able to live in New York City.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
far that was kind of one of my criteria for choosing a place to live. That okay, well, I want to be able to find a parking spot.
Got it.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I travel for work a lot, so I have to be able to get in and out of the city
Hmm.
easily. So
Yeah.
downtown life was
True.
not convenient.
Right. Yeah. Not impossible, but it would be, yeah,
Hmm.
something to figure out. So,
Yep.
well, you've given some such great advice already. But is there anything else that you would like more people to know about, or if someone's just planning that first like trip abroad, like what would you tell them?
So I used to plan for my trips. I used to spend a very long time to, plan everything, all the details. I'm an engineer, and that's in my nature to plan for everything before I kind of travel somewhere. Then I realized that when I get to that place, nothing is kind of that exciting for me because I already researched it and kind of I saw pictures and I know what to expect. Then I decided to stop doing the planning. I don't necessarily want to recommend this because you have to be aware of the safety and you want to make sure that you have a place to stay and um, in general you want to have a general plan. But instead of researching everything and having like a very detailed sort of itinerary, maybe try to go there and figure out things there.
Hmm.
That's a different experience. And
For sure.
usually like sometimes I even go to a place and I start asking locals that, where should I go and see? Like instead of searching on TripAdvisor or something like that, I just go there and ask people, where should I go next? I saw these places. Where should I go next?
Hmm.
And then sometimes I'm just walking, especially in older cities, because there's usually like a old town sort of area. Usually, I
Hmm.
just go there and I walk in different places, and suddenly I get sort of surprised by a kind of a major monument, and I didn't
Yes.
plan for it, and I just got there. So that
Yes.
I I I started enjoying that, and I stopped kind of planning for my trips to some level. But it's still, let's say when I spend like 2 3 days somewhere, then I start looking at TripAdvisor to make sure that I'm not missing the major sort of attractions.
Totally.
But yeah, that's my I guess uh, uncommon sort of advice to people that stop planning too much for your
Hmm.
trip. Of course, make
Hmm.
sure that you have a ticket and a place
Yeah.
to stay, but you don't need to plan for everything. Let it to be a bit spontaneous.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. A non-planner, yeah, non-unplanned trip.
yeah,
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 that's good advice too, because it is a hard balance, I think. But I love to be delighted, and I feel like that's why I travel is just to be
yeah,
surprised. And especially with like Instagram and like everything's online, everything can be like on a blog, and like there's really nothing unseen at this point. So it is hard
exactly.
to be surprised. So yeah, I think that's a great
Yeah, yeah,
perspective too.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, maybe not researching too much and not some people will go and watch YouTube videos and things
Hmm.
like that. Okay, well, if you saw it on YouTube video, you might not get that excited when you actually see it in person.
Yeah,
So yeah, I kind
totally.
of try to stop doing that and leave the experience to actually happen.
Yeah, and let it be your own.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I think this is a great podcast. Hopefully, we can encourage people to do more travels and get to enjoy the world. Yeah, we have a really beautiful world in general. So
Hmm.
I want to encourage everybody to travel more and see that beautiful world that we have.
Yep. Well said. Awesome. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.